on. Now, certainly these first 2 days, you're not going to see a ton of banging and contact, but there's a lot of footwork things that can be cleaned up, assignment sound, things like that. So it's not the way, and I get why we have to do it, but it's not the way as an offensive lineman I'd like to have it be, but there's certainly things we can work on that we need to get better at.
Jim, you've got a lot of depth coming into this season, so probably a lot more fun for you this fall camp, but at the same time too, there's going to be some challenging decisions. So just curious your thoughts going in. You got a lot of, obviously really good veterans, but some great newcomers coming in as well.
Yeah, we've talked about all summer and with the group. If they look around the room, they're going to see a lot of talented guys. They obviously all work out together. It will be difficult to make some decisions, but like I told them, they're the ones that's going to determine who's playing. I'm just evaluating. It's going to be from assignment to physicality to how well can you be trusted. Those are all things that'll be weighed into it. But there should be some great battles, and there will be great battles this fall.
And then off and on over the years, we've talked about the shifting around that you do during camps and everything. How comfortable are you in trying to adjust that and maybe shift some guys around and see where they're at? Or are you at that point with these guys where you've got their spots locked in?
No, we'll shuffle a little bit today. Two guys that come to mind are Jaron and Satawa. Satawa's started both at guard and tackle, so that lends itself to having some flexibility there. Jaron has started at guard and tackle as well, and he's going to get center reps today in practice. I'm sure there's other guys I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but those will be two guys that even in this shorter practice will be cross-training. And again, the sooner I can get those five in order, the better we'll be come the Florida game.
With shuffling around, you talk about the quarterback situation with Cam and everything. Does it change anything for you as an offensive line coach, who's back there?
No, I know that we better protect our tails off no matter who the quarterback is, and if we run the football, we don't have to throw it as much. So I certainly have enough on my plate to get my guys in order before I worry about what quarterback's back there.
So you haven't been able to assess progress just yet, but how would you assess kind of the work that your guys have put in this summer?
Based on everything we hear from the weight room, it's been tremendous. The testing went really well. Knock on wood, we only have really one major injury. So we're going to, for the most part, be full strength heading into this. And the kid that, will miss the majority of camp has an opportunity to insert himself towards the middle of the season. But we should have, like I said, really good competition and really good battle.
What do the new guys, Caleb Lomu, who's a fantastic golfer, by the way, fantastic athlete, but just those guys, Caleb Lomu and Roger coming in, and those guys, what do they bring, and even with Spencer and
Solatoa.
Yeah, I always get Satoa and Solatoa.
Yeah.
What do they do to the ceiling of it?
Well, I think that every single time you bring in a class, you're hoping to increase the talent level, which all that's going to do is make the older guys that have been around realize that they can't just rely on what they've done in the past, but they got to continue working. And the difference between Spencer and Solatoa versus Roger and Caleb, obviously Spencer and Toa got 15 practices, couple training cycles, but just in the little bit I've been able to see Caleb run around and Roger run around, they are athletic dudes. Hopefully they can pick up the offense. There isn't a lot of time now that we're in fall camp to sit here and if they make mistakes, slow everybody down because we got to play in 30 days. And so a lot of it will fall on them, but I do think they both have, Roger and Caleb, having just got here, have the ability to help us, who knows, maybe sooner rather than later.
Laumea, you talked about earlier, but Keaton Bills is a guy I'm curious about because it seemed like things really clicked for him last season. what are expectations for him going into the season? Do you feel he can be that leader of the group this season?
So I think it just lends itself. The guys that have played, they should be the leaders of the room. They know what the expectations are. They know what it takes to play at this level. And so my expectations for Keaton is that he's another coach on the field. Individually, he should be striving to be an all-conference player. Depending on what he chooses to do at the end of the season, he should be thinking not only is he competing against the guys in our room, in our conference, but where does he stack up nationally? If he wants to go on and play in the NFL, that's got to be in his mind. Now, certainly that, we got to win games, and that's got to be his main focus. But in the back of his mind, if I'm him, I'm thinking, okay, where do I stack up against the other interior linemen in the country? And so, but for us right now, he needs to be a great leader. He needs to be somebody that is a coach on the field. And if he does those things, I think his personal goals will also happen.
Love that. And just last one, just how comfortable are you in terms of having your best five, your starting five? Where do you feel you're at in that process right now?
I would say, truthfully, you have Satawa and Keaton have started multiple years, but I think a guy like Moko, Jaron, Johnny, Coley, Falcon, I know I shouldn't name names because I always forget somebody in case I read these interviews, but guys that have traveled with me that have been up on the travel squad the last year, those are all guys that I think are fighting for spots 3 through 10. Those two returning all-conference players. Now, if they come out and they play like crap in fall camp, nothing's ever put in stone. But I would be extremely disappointed if the two of them don't attack this the right way. And so now you're looking at how do you fill in the rest of the puzzle around those two or and Michael. I keep forgetting Moko. Those 2 or 3 guys. So there's a handful of guys that are competing for those spots.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.